Hello everyone, welcome back. So here we have the Queen's Loyal Rangers. Their commander, Lieutenant Colonel John Peters, was born in Hebron, Connecticut, 1740. He went to Yale, graduated there in 1759, and then right before the war, 1774, was appointed to be the King's surveyor and representative in Vermont. And so that set him up to be labeled as a loyalist with his family and neighbors. And he went on to be asked by Sir Guy Carleton to raise a unit of Rangers in 1777, May of 1777. By June, 1 month later, he'd recruited 300 volunteers for his Queen's Loyal Rangers. So definitely effective recruiting among the loyalist population there. They were assigned to General Burgoyne's army, served in the advance guard under General Fraser, and they took serious casualties. About 35 escaped from Bemis Heights in the middle of the night before the surrender because they felt that they might be unjustly targeted after a surrender. And in total, about 90 survivors of the unit did make it back to Canada. They continued to serve throughout the war and embarked on various raids and reconnaissance missions along the lakes and the border between Canada and New York. Ultimately, most of them settling with their families in Canada at the conclusion of the war. Colonel Peters went on to London after the war, and in 1788 he died at the age of 48, rather young, especially since he and his wife had 9 children. This unit that you see here is probably a little too well uniformed for the Queen's Loyal Rangers. Only about 80 of the first soldiers were issued with the red and green jacket that you see there. The majority on the Saratoga campaign would likely have been in civilian clothes. So this is a probably post-Saratoga uniform. But I enjoyed painting them in the red coats with the green facings, and these Perry sculpts for the Rangers is really a very good sculpt. It's pretty historically accurate for many of the different Ranger units that served in the war. I think the equipment is outstanding. I like the fact that you have a good chunk of the soldiers wearing leggings, those wool leggings. I can tell you from experience, I went deer hunting about 2 years ago, and I got eaten up. I was wearing 18th century clothing, black powder hunting, and I came back to the house, and I was just eaten up with thorns and just not loving it. And the first thing I did when I got back to the house was I found a wool blanket and I cut it into leggings. And it's probably not the right type of wool to use. You would want a broadcloth wool, and the blanket's a Melton wool. But I did. I went back out that afternoon with leggings, and it was a world of difference. So it's nice to see those leggings on a Frontier unit. And I like the kit and the way they're carrying it on the figures. I like the light infantry caps. They're not really light infantry caps. They're just probably cut down tricorns, to be honest. Pardon any dirty fingernails. I scrubbed the heck out of my hands, but I just came back from shooting a musket, actually, and I cleaned it when I get back. And man, you get your hands into the black, foul water from that stuff, and you just can't get it off. But here you have them. Probably a post-Saratoga uniform operating along the frontier. They would eventually move into green coats faced red, which is a look that I really like as well. But I enjoyed the fact that in the red faced green, it would differentiate them from other Ranger units of this point in time. Another look at the front there. Do a close-up. I think they were a really fun unit to paint. I highly recommend the Perry medals and the Ranger codes that they have. They have 2 boxes of Rangers right now. And I'd love to see them come out with another, but I don't suppose they actually need another box of Rangers. That would just be me nerding out and embracing it. The next video I do, unless I slip something else in the meantime, will probably be Continental Army Rangers, which I used the same boxes for and made some significant modifications. There's no reason that this jacket has to be painted as a uniform jacket. It doesn't have lace. You know, you could trim the buttons off. You can turn them into a civilian frock. They could be a Continental Army coat. So a lot of options with these figures. You're not stuck with doing them just as British. But I did do some headgear changes on my Continental Army Rangers for Whitcomb's or Knowlton's Rangers. So in that video, you'll see the difference. All right. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Thank you for joining me. Bye-bye.